Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan. Now, if you watched the Glenn Roth video 2 videos ago, I said I was going to start with the E.H. Taylor, but after doing that Lafroig, I did a good palate rinse the best I could, and I still got some of that smoke coming forward. So rather than kind of destroy my palate on E.H. Taylor, which I know I like, I think we're going to go with this Four Roses here, and we'll let that be the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, for the palate there. We did a little palate cleanse there off the bottle. That's probably not a bad way to go. So this is the Four Roses single barrel. They changed their labels a bit from my last bottle here. You know, the last bottle is a little bit lighter in color. Now they're darker. They used to have this nice leather collar on them. Let's see, do they have an age, the year on here at all? Like a laser code. There's a laser code right there. 0, 39, 21, 320. Yeah, I don't know what that laser code is. It's either 20 or 21, I would assume. And then let's see what this one says. I don't know how to read the code so much. There's 1, 27, 15, 12, 24. 24, what's the back end of that one say? 20. So I would say this is 2020, this is 2024. The new bottle is 2024. Nice looking bottle. I do appreciate that. This is ringing in at 50% or 100 proof. This is, boy, getting old. Can't read the bottle so well. Is that Rick House? Maybe? LE? Barrel number 6-4I. For the single barrel. And, Four Roses makes a good product. I'm not the biggest fan of Four Roses. This single barrel, I wasn't the hugest fan of. Like a lot of things, the new one is darker in color. I've been saying that about a lot of these bottles that I've been going through and doing head-to-heads with. Which I don't know, color doesn't mean a whole lot to me. It's all about the flavor, but it does do something in your brain. As if we're going through the Four Roses lineup, the regular Four Roses small batch, it's okay. Not a huge fan of it, but it's okay. The yellow label, again, it's okay. I think there's better things out there. The small batch select, however, I think is absolutely phenomenal whiskey. It runs you about $60, they're about $50, $60. Super, super good. I know a lot of people really, really enjoy these single barrels. This one, the 2020 version, I was not super impressed with. This one also not over the moon, but not terrible. And I bought this here locally. Do I got the slip with me? Nope, not that one. Sorry. We'll bring it up here. It's gonna take a minute for it to fire up here. But pretty cheap as far as single barrels go. And so because of that, if you are a fan, good on you. You're getting yourself some really, really good whiskey, or a decent single barrel for a really good price. I think some of the only better, cheaper options, like the Evan Williams single barrel. I have a bottle in there from, gosh, probably 2020. I want to say I paid like 16 or 17 bucks for it back in the day. It's not as good a whiskey by any means, but as far as a single barrel goes, that's pretty cheap. And the other one is Benchmark, the Benchmark single barrel. Again, 20, 25 bucks, something like that. It's kind of hard to compete at that price range. But there's somewhere in there where you're gonna have to go. Well, is the extra $10 or $20 worth the flavor difference? As far as being something that is better or equivalent, and you're gonna have to balance that one out for yourselves. But here we go. Four Roses single barrel, $37.79. I bought this. Let's see. Yeah, so I bought this at the cheaper liquor store for $37.99 or 79 cents in February. It's March 30th right now. On February 7th, 2025. This bottle I bought at one of the other liquor stores here in town and paid way more money for it. I bought this in 2021 and I paid $46.99. So $47. So $10 cheaper 4 years later. That's probably the only whiskey that's happened to me on, but it's just because I bought it at a different store here in town. So there you go. Prices could be wildly different. But anyways, enough yammering. Let's get on with this because we still got several more whiskeys to go here. I get a floral, light, crisp, like Honeycrisp apple. There's a little bit of a sharpness ethanol on the back end of that. A very nice honeysuckle. Very fruity, bright fruit, bright floral quality, like walking into a floral shop. I don't know, however you want to say it. A little bit of caramel on the nose. But I would say the ethanol actually comes forward quite a bit in the glass. And actually covers up a lot of that stuff, but it's a very light touch on the nose. On the palate, first sip, not super impressed with. Very ethanol forward, had a bit of a tannic bite to it up front. Not as fruity sweet as I would have thought. Now that might be some of the impact of this Lafroig still coming through because I don't recall that being the mainstay of Four Roses. I remember it being a lot easier drinking, light on flavor, light on punch, light on everything, and that wasn't what that first sip was. Again, the nose, pretty much the same. I'm going to go back in on another sip here just to see if we can get more out of it. But yeah, it has a tannic forward bit to it with the vanilla and the honey. A little bit of that oak stave oakiness to it. There's a caramel that kind of picks up towards the back end. You get a bit of a black pepper finish with that ethanol bite on the back end. With the exception of that kind of acrid note in the front and the bitiness of the ethanol, like this, for some reason, this is drinking hotter than 100 proof right now. With the exception of that up front, the flavor profile really is fairly consistent from note to note. It's not super spiky or all over the place. It's also kind of lacking a depth of flavor for me. Like you're stretching to get things like now this extremely long aftertaste is kind of sweet, caramelly. But it doesn't have a lot of notes coming forward. It's not extremely complex. And I'm not sure that 100 proof, just a standard 100 proof, was the right proof point to release this at. So again, pretty darn cheap for a single barrel, so I'll give it that. But if I were getting a different single barrel, I would take the benchmark over this, and I'm getting that for like 25, 26 bucks. So $10 cheaper, way more complexity. I think the proof, do I still got my single barrel here? Hold on a second. Randomness here. Top floor, full proof, single barrel. All right. So this one's ringing in at 95 proof. So it's a little bit lighter in proof, but it still is hitting a bit more for me, like as far as the flavor profile goes. So you have that now, you sit with it long enough, you're going to get something out of it a little bit more. But each sip, so that's the third sip now, and each sip, that ethanol has been forward. And keep in mind, single barrel product, right? So just like the Blantons or anything else, Stag, actually, I don't think Stag's single barrel, but you're going to have a different, sorry, Stag is definitely not single barrel. But you're going to have a very different experience than I am from your barrel, probably. I would say this one with that darker color, maybe it's been sitting in the barrel longer. I don't know. But again, like this one and this one didn't impress me. And this one came from Rick House QS. This one came from Rick House LE. I'm sure there's a sweet spot out there where you get some nice honey barrels from some Rick House out there. I probably don't get those here in Wyoming. So perhaps where you're at, they're a lot better. But if you want a cheap single barrel, that's your product. It's not terrible whiskey by any means, but it's not my favorite, and it's not top of the priority. But for $37, kind of hard to argue with that. I mean, there's a lot of other whiskeys I have here that are not $37 that are not as good either, that are maybe $50, $60 that aren't as good as this one. That was tough to say. So go ahead, drop in the comments down below what you can find it for in your area, what you think of it. Is it something that you keep coming back to, that you're consistently finding good bottles? I'm 2 for 2 on bottles that are just mediocre, I'll call them. They're not bad, but they're not hitters. So look forward in the future to the head-to-head between the two bottles, and we'll see what we come up with for flavor differences. As you can tell, I bought this in 2021, and that's all the whiskey I drank out of it. So, and there's always that aspect of, like, once you get down to like the midpoint, maybe the bottle opens up a little bit more and becomes a little bit more nuanced. That is definitely a possibility, especially as some of the ethanol comes out of there. Maybe it's not as acrid kind of up front. So I'll look forward to seeing how things change with these, but for now, no, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but like that Four Roses small batch select is probably the only one that I go, ooh, yes, that one I am a fan of. It had a lot of complexity to it. I was a big fan. Go ahead and check out that review that I did, I don't know, probably a year ago or so. Phenomenal. So anyways, you guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. In the next video, we are going to hit the E.H. Taylor and see how that one treats us this year. And thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video.